my mother asked me to figure out how money works
Right.
so she could do things better.
Right.
And I failed. At least that's the way I viewed it,
Yeah.
right? Because she worked hard. She didn't get a chance to enjoy her money. So was it all worth it? I'm working for a company, helping them make themselves rich and
Right.
other people rich. And my family's being left behind. And the hardest thing I had to do is I had to pull them both out of college.
Wow.
Yeah, I'll never forget that. I cried for weeks behind that because I felt like I failed.
Welcome and thank you for coming.
Thank you for having me. This is a beautiful place.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
So let's just start at the beginning. What were you like as a child?
Oh my goodness. Now, see, my mother's gone because she would tell the truth. So I'm going to give you the editorial
Oh
version.
man, Mom, we wish you were here for this part.
Right. I think I was a very precocious child. I was very outgoing.
Okay.
And one of the things that my mother always used to tell me is I never was quiet. I was always talking. I talked in my sleep.
Oh wow.
My goal, I'm an only child. So I was my best friend. Right?
Yeah, me too. In the house, it was the same thing. Yeah.
And I used to make these little recordings. They had those, I'm going to age myself, these cassette decks.
Okay.
And it was a long black thing and you could record. And I used to record myself interviewing people.
Oh wow.
Yeah. And I thought that I was going to grow up and I wanted to work in, I called it Radio Land because that's all I knew.
Yeah, yeah.
Right. Little did I know I wasn't going that route, but yeah. So I was just a very outgoing kid. Always, I was that kid that brought home strays. You know, I brought home stray. I brought home stray animals, which really weren't stray. So we're clear.
Right.
I thought they were.
There was
Yeah, they were someone else's pet who was loose or whatever.
Right.
I remember I had graduated high school. I had my very first real job. I worked in a supermarket.
Okay.
And there was a young girl there, and when she was crying, we worked together. And I was like, what's wrong? And she said, my mother and I got into a fight. She put me out. And she had these black plastic bags of her stuff.
Right.
She's like, I have nowhere to go. And I brought her home.
Oh wow. What did Mom say?
My mother, bless her heart, she was, she sat the young lady down. She asked her what happened.
Right.
She got on the phone and called her mother out of respect.
Right.
And I remember my mother saying something like, you really don't care what happens to your daughter?
Wow.
And so the young lady, she stayed with us. She lived with us for about, maybe 2 months, but she couldn't abide by the household rules.
Right.
And that was very short-lived.
Yeah. Mom was like, oh, sorry, sweetie, but it's not going to work
this
here.
is how we do things over here.
So tell me a little bit about your mom. When do you remember, first of all, did she stay at home or did she work?
So my mom ended up having to go back to work after my dad left. So she was a stay-at-home mom. She had a high school degree.
Okay.
She graduated from Girls High in Brooklyn.
Oh, wow.
And she got married. She had me, and she was a stay-at-home mom. And then my dad decided he wanted to do something different with other people.
Right.
And so she had to figure it out. And she had just bought a home. They had just bought a home.
Wow.
And she didn't want to lose it. So she went and got a job.
Where was she working?
So she worked, the jobs I remember was Reuben H. Donnelly, which was an advertising firm. They're probably long gone now.
Right.
She worked with them for 40 years.
Okay.
And then when computers became a thing, she started doing data entry. So my mom had 3 jobs.
Oh, wow.
And I was what you would call a latchkey kid, meaning I let myself out to go to school. I let myself in, and then I stayed in until she got home.
Wow. when do you remember that being that it started? Was it high school, middle school?
No, this was in elementary school.
Oh, wow.
Fortunately, we lived one block from the elementary school.
Okay.
And I remember letting myself out. There was rules. Like
Right.
we
Yeah,
played
yeah.
this out.
I've done that. I did that.
I would walk to the corner, and then the very next corner is where the crossing guard would be.
Oh, wow.
And so I had to get to the first corner quick.
Right.
The crossing guard could see me.
Right.
Then I'd walk there, and then she'd get me across the street into the school.
Oh, wow.
So yeah, definitely elementary school. I would say maybe third grade, fourth grade, somewhere around there.
Third grade. That's super early. Do you remember at that point your mom doing anything that looked to you like she was maybe helping people or over helping people? Was she the type of person, or was she just super busy? And like,
My mom, at that age, I didn't recognize anything. I just knew she was always busy.
right.
And I would see her on the weekends. Really, that's when I
Right.
got to interact with her a lot.
Okay.
And then she was like usually tired.
Yeah.
So we didn't
get
get
it.
to do a lot of things.
I get it.
But my mom was that person that people go to. It's interesting. As I've gotten older, a lot of my friends have said to me, in fact, one sent me a text about 2 weeks ago, I wish your mom was still here. I need to talk to her.
Wow.
And, as a child, she was my mom. I never looked
Right.
at her as that person that people go to get help.
Right.
And I now understand why, even when I left home, I moved down to Georgia for a little while. And my mother would call me up and she'd be like, oh, so-and-so's here or this one's here. And I'm like, why are my friends at my house when I'm not there?
Right.
And they're like, oh, well, we want to talk to your mom.
Oh, wow.
So she was that person that,
Right.
gave guidance. I just never recognized it, you
Right.
know?
It's interesting. So you get to this point where after high school, you decide that you're going to bring home. Before then, was there ever a time that you felt like, I just want to help people? In high school, in middle school?
I think I've always had that,
Right.
and probably I got it from my mom. But yeah, whenever anyone was sad, I wanted to help. I've always been the first one. I still do it today. So there's something that needs to be done. I raise my hand first.
Yeah, she offered to
Right.
pick me up from the...
Yeah, I would have picked you up.
my car. I lost the key.
I would have picked you up. I'm already in Jersey.
Right, exactly.
I'm on my way. Just
Right.
give me the address. So that's always been
Right.
me. And it's been a blessing, and it's also been a curse. I have found over the years
Right.
that in life there's givers and takers, and I'm a giver.
Right.
And every now and then I run across the takers.
Right.
And they take what I have to give, and then I
Exactly.
have to put the
Pull
brakes
back.
on.
Yeah. So you finished high school. What did you decide to do? Did you have a conversation about it with your mom? Did you just choose, I want to go do X or Y? How did that happen?
When I finished high school,
Right.
I had two requirements that my mother had for me. One, I had to go to college and graduate because she
Okay.
never did.
Okay.
So, okay, great.
Right.
I'll go do that,
Okay.
right? I wasn't sure exactly what I wanted to do, but I knew I wanted to be doing something where I was helping people, talking to people.
Okay.
In fact, I had this dream of going into the Peace Corps.
Oh.
And then someone shared with me some articles around what happens to people when they're in the Peace Corps. I don't know how true they were,
Which was...
but it scared me,
Okay.
and I didn't do it.
Right.
So I went to college, and my goal was to graduate. That's all I needed to do.
Okay.
And she asked me during the process of doing that to learn how money works. So we were struggling.
Okay.
Where
Say more about that.
Yeah, where we lived there weren't a lot of people that looked like me. In fact, there was maybe 4 families in the whole town of color.
Okay.
And everyone had really nice homes, manicured, and 2 cars, and a mom and a dad. We didn't have those things.
Okay.
Right?
Okay.
It didn't bother me back then, but I
Right.
recognize it now. And she really wanted me to figure out how money works so I could help her, explain it to her so she could do things better. She was tired of working 3 jobs, excuse me.
Right.
She was tired of working all these jobs.
Right.
And I was like, okay, how hard could it be? You go to college, they'll
Right.
teach you how money works. They say, hey, do this.
Right.
And then I could go off and live my life,
right.
Yeah. That's not what happened.
Oh, I'm sure. So you get there.
I get there, I'm studying, I'm taking courses. All the courses that they offered were on economics, macroeconomics, nothing that I could say, oh, I could take this and give this to my mom and now she could do things differently.
Exactly.
And so, I made a lot of friends. I learned a lot and I did graduate.
With what degree?
So I ended up going down the path of technology initially.
Okay.
I've always been that person that likes to take things apart.
Okay.
So when computers first came out, the AT, again, I'm dating myself.
It's all right.
But when the AT computer came out, my uncle bought me one.
Oh.
And I took it apart. I wanted to know, how does this thing work?
Right.
And then I put it back together and then I started working on it and then I started writing programs on it. And it was just a lot of fun. I was curious about it.
Yeah.
But it's that knowledge and that curiosity that got me into the financial industry. Because when I graduated, the only thing I really had to show for it, I had a diploma.
Right.
Okay, I had a diploma.
Right.
But I had credit card debt because this is the time when they just gave out credit cards like chiclets.
Yes, I know.
So I had credit card debt and I had student loan debt. And so I didn't make the situation for my household better. I made it worse. And so I was like, all right, I need to figure out how money is made. Right. And being in New York, I was like, well, they make money on Wall Street. Right. That's where I'll go.
Right.
And I remember sitting in our living room. This is when the New York Times was, people would go out and buy it. It was a huge paper, like it would fill this whole area here, right? Right. And I remember putting it out on the floor and looking for jobs. And all I looked for is, so they used to tell you the name of the company and the location.
Okay.
And if it said Wall Street, I circled it. That was my goal.
She's like, I'm going to Wall Street. I don't know where, but I'm going there.
I don't know what they're going to have me do, but that's where I'm going.
You're right.
And so I found a job at a company called E.F. Hutton.
Okay.
And the position was they wanted someone who understood technology and could help them automate their processes.
Okay.
That's easy, isn't it?
Yeah, sure.
So I raised my hand like I always do.
Right.
And they said, you. And that's how I got in the industry. I started working at E.F.
Any
Hutton.
other Black African Americans,
No.
women of color when you show up?
Not in fact. In fact, there was only 2 women in the division, and they called them secretaries back then.
Right.
I was the only Black woman there, or girl. I was a young girl at that point. And I had no clue.
So you walk into this place, and what is your first thought?
My first thought was, how do I figure out how money is made? That's the reason why I was there.
Driven. She was like,
I was very driven.
Right.
I didn't care about anything other than that.
Right.
But after a time, I started to realize that, hey, things are a little different here. Now, I think the reason why it wasn't a big deal for me was because where I lived, it was this same dynamics, right? I was always, I'm going to say the minority in the group of people.
Right.
So being in that space was not foreign for me. I kind of knew how to move in that space. And, I saw microaggressions and things like that, but I'd experienced that before, so I knew how to manage it.
Yeah.
But I think what was the big shocker for me is that when I was working there, they told me that I could not wear pants.
Really?
Yeah. And then
Say more, because I was on Wall Street for 17 years, and I wore most of what I wore were pantsuits at that point. So I'm curious to hear that.
Yeah.
Wow.
I don't know what it was. The secretary's administrative assistants.
Right.
They wore dresses, so I had to wear dresses. And I mean, looking at it now in hindsight, I think it was just eye candy.
Yeah, they wanted you to look feminine.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly. But that was the one thing that really stood out to me. It was like, what do pants have to do with my ability to do the job?
Right.
Like, I don't get it.
Wow. So now you have to get your pretty dresses in addition to come figure out how to make money.
Exactly. Exactly. Exactly.
What happens next? Like, do you start off and everything goes well? Is there any rockiness to the beginning?
Yeah, there was rockiness in that I definitely was not accepted there.
Okay.
Right? They brought me in to do something very specific. And in order for me to do that, I needed to understand their processes and what they do. And so I would ask questions and people didn't want to share the answers.
Wow. Do you think it was because they thought you were taking away from them, or they thought you might not be capable of doing it, or a combination of both?
I think it was, one, not thinking I was capable.
Right.
And two, like, how do I have the audacity to come in there and tell them that I can take what they do and I can streamline
and make it better.
Like, who are you?
Yeah.
What do you know about this? You don't know anything about this. And you're going to come in here and tell me what to do?
Yeah.
So that's really a lot of what I experienced.
And how did you deal with it? Because I'm going to share a story with you from my perspective. How did you deal with it at first?
Remember, I had a goal.
Right.
So
how to make money.
I'm going to get the answers one way or the other. Right. So working there, I needed to figure out how to teach my mom how to make money.
Right.
But I needed to make money too.
Right.
So I needed to keep this job.
Yeah.
And so I was just very creative. Like however people responded to me, I had a way of hearing what they had to say and making them, it's going to sound crazy, but making them feel safe.
Right. No,
Right.
that's not crazy
So
at all.
that I don't appear to be a threat.
Right.
And then once they got comfortable around me, they opened up.
Right.
And then I was like, oh, well, we could do this and we could do that.
Right.
So that's how I got
Interesting.
around it.
No, that's an interesting story, because I do remember walking into many a room when I was at NYSE, and because I was young, I was in technology. I was talking about how we can create better systems, streamline systems, processes, and improve latency. I don't think what I looked like fit what was coming out of my mouth and their minds, right? So they were like, it was kind of hard to reconcile for them, right? Because there weren't any other people like me running around saying that.
Right.
And so I do remember many a time where I would have to kind of, as you say, work to have them feel safe.
Yeah.
Feel disarmed in a way.
Yep.
To be able to actually get the point across of what I was trying to say, right?
Yeah.
And, I remember so many times, and I'll share this story later about when I was having my second son, and there was a guy who was literally battling with me over what I was doing, which was really the better route for the And that came to a head. But I will tell you more about that in a second. So anyway, you get there and you're starting to figure out how to kind of weave your way in.
Yes.
Now, I heard you tell a story about being there working late.
Yes.
And I love that story. Really stuck with me when I heard you speak about it. Obviously, you had to put in a lot of hours.
Yes, absolutely.
And what did that look like? Did mom get concerned? Were you comfortable with it? Was everything good? And how did that progress?
Yeah, so, my mom was comfortable with it if I was comfortable with it.
Okay.
I was naive, so if I wasn't supposed to be comfortable or I should have been concerned, I didn't realize,
I love it.
So I just did what I had to do.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was a lot of hours.
Right.
I had my regular working hours. I had to be there at 8.
Right.
If I remember correctly, I think we ended like 4:30. I would stick around until about 5:36.
Okay.
Because the way the office was set up, they had these credenzas, and on top of the credenzas were rows and rows of books. And I needed to understand how money worked.
Right.
And there were some books. So I picked a book and I had started reading it.
Okay.
And I read a couple of chapters every day at the end of after everyone left.
Okay.
And I would take a little sticky note and I'd make it real small and I'd stick it in there. I didn't want anyone to see it. And I would slide it back.
Okay. So this was your marker of...
This is my marker, where I was and where do I got to pick up from.
Okay.
And there was one day that I stayed late and I didn't realize that someone else was still there.
Okay.
And I'm sitting there, I had my head down, I'm reading, and taking notes, and I hear this voice, "Hey, what are you doing here?"
Ooh.
And I'm like,
Ooh.
like I jumped.
Right.
You know,
Busted.
and it's like, yeah, it felt like, it's almost like having your hand in the cookie jar.
Right.
That's what it felt like.
Right.
And I was like, "Oh, I'm sorry. I was just reading something." And he goes, "Why are you here late?" And I said, "Well, I wanted to read this book." And he goes, "Why do you want to read the book?" So I explained to him, I want to understand how money works, right? And he says, "Well, why don't you just take it with you?" I didn't know that was an option.
Right. Yeah.
And so I was like, "I don't know." And so then he started talking to me a little bit more, and he's like, "Well, it's time to go, and and take the book with you." And I took the book,
Okay.
and we walked out, and I said good night, and I got on the subway. I was downtown Manhattan. I was at 25 Broadway. Got on the subway to go up to Penn Station. Noticed he was on the train. No big deal.
Right.
Got to Penn Station. He's there. No big deal. But I get on my train, and he gets on my train.
Oh, wow.
And I'm like, Now I'm a little concerned, like what's happening here?
Or are we really going similar places?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then he came and he sat next to me and he goes, "What stop do you get off?" And I told him, I said, "Belmore." And his eyebrows went up to his hairline.
Wow.
Because where I live, there weren't a lot of people of color.
Oh, wow.
And so he was like, "Really?" And I go, yeah, that's where I live. And he lived a little further out. And so when I got off, he says, "All right, see you at work tomorrow." And ultimately, he became my mentor.
Wow.
In the most unassuming places,
Right.
From someone I never would have imagined.
Right.
He just it was nothing formal.
Right.
Just kind of took me under his wing. What book are you reading? What are you learning?
Right.
Do you know what this is? And then he would just start bringing me things. And then I'd start asking questions.
Wow.
And, yeah.
That's nice. So how did that mentorship end up shaping what you did next?
One of the things that I realized was that growing up, I never had a role model around money and managing money.
Right.
It just wasn't in our family, right? I was actually, little did I know, going to be the first to model it.
Right.
And what I realized is that there are people out there that if you are looking for something, they're there to help you. It doesn't matter where you come from, your background. There are people who will raise their hand and say, "Let me help you."
Yeah.
And it gave me faith in the whole system, right? In what I was doing. And yeah, I've had some not so nice run-ins, but for the not so nice run-ins, I've had some really amazing encounters. And so when I developed there for a while, and then the company merged, so it was E.F. Hutton.
Okay.
And then they merged with Shearson.
Okay.
And I went with the merger. I didn't get laid off, thank goodness.
And what's your role at this point?
So, gosh, you're making me go back so many years.
Yeah,
it's like 30 years now.
It's okay. We're going full circle.
So when we merged, I moved into another division. I can remember that. And this division was responsible for fielding calls.
Okay.
I don't know if the
like
clients,
custom client calls.
Yeah,
Right,
I don't know if they were corporate or whatever. I don't remember that. But I remember we were fielding calls. And the guy who mentored me, he told me to take that role.
Okay.
He said, "You'll do really well here." And he went off and did whatever he was going to do.
Okay.
And in that space, I got a chance to really see what it's like to work with clients. Right? And the biggest takeaway I have from that is what not to do with a client.
Which is?
You got to treat them like people. Right? So this was really like a Wolf of Wall Street environment that I was in.
Right.
And so on this side where I was, I could see the conversation like, "Oh, you got to get that one. They got a lot of money. We're going to make big,
Yeah.
And then I could see how they would talk to the clients.
Right.
"Oh, well, no, you should definitely give us your money. We can handle it. We can manage that for you. We can make you all the," like there were these promises made and none of it sat well with me because I was like, you don't even really know this person.
Right.
This goes back to me wanting to help people, right? And what I realized is in that environment, while we were working in finance, I didn't feel like we were really helping people. I felt like we were helping ourselves
Right.
at the expense of others.
Wow.
And I ultimately left there.
Really?
Yeah.
And so as you're leaving, what are you thinking is your next move? Do you know, or you're just like, nah, I'm
No
just going to
clue.
go figure it out?
I have no clue. I'm going to figure it out.
Right.
Right. And it was, I'm not going to say it was, well, yeah, relationship to today.
Right.
It was easy to get a job.
Right.
You know, so I left there, and someone had told me about international finance and Union Bank of Switzerland and Swiss banks. And I was like, ooh, that sounds interesting. Right.
Yeah.
And so I applied for a position there, and I ended up getting the position.
Okay.
I was managing a team that was responsible for helping the wealth management division.
Okay.
And so my job, my role was to ensure that all of the resources and everything that they had for putting together strategies for the for the wealthy clients was functioning properly.
Okay.
So I was pulling in more of my technology background now. And I really enjoyed it.
Wow.
I liked the environment was completely different.
Okay. More diverse?
It was, I don't know, I wouldn't say it was more diverse, but more tolerant.
Okay.
More open.
Okay.
And I felt like so they had expats that would come over from Switzerland.
Okay.
And they were just more open to different type of people. And so it felt warmer.
Right.
You know, it felt like not I always had to be looking over my shoulder.
Right.
Yeah.
And so you're doing this and you start this new job, you're doing the technology side. Do you now feel like I know how to do money?
I knew how to do it for my mom.
Right.
I knew how to do it for my mom.
So what did you tell her at this point? What information or nuggets had you given her at this point?
So what I gave her and what she would receive are two different things.
I'd love to know both.
Because, you know, our parents, we're always going to be their kids.
Right.
And so one of the things that I really was trying to get my mother to do was participate in the retirement packages.
Okay.
The company that she worked for, as I have it, this is based on what she told me. I don't know how true it was.
Yeah.
She said she wasn't allowed to participate in it. And I said, well, why? I mean, they have a 401k. Why can't you participate in it?
Right.
She said, they said I can't. Now, ERISA regulations warrant what they are today back then. So maybe there was some truth to that.
Okay.
So then my next thing to her was, all right, well, then you got to put money aside for yourself. Like you got to start saving for your retirement.
Right.
She had a pension. She started putting money away. So back then, this is when CDs were a big deal. Like you could get really good rates of return. And that's where she put her money. So long before there was an Apple Watch, there was Apple Bank. And that's the bank that my mother used. And she would go in and she had a whole bunch of CDs. And so as one would come to maturity, we would look for where can we get a better rate and then roll it into that. Like we were chasing the returns. You know? She had no desire to do investing in the markets.
Really? Because she just didn't trust the market?
She didn't understand it.
Okay.
And this is where, you know, what I was explaining to her and what she would receive differed.
Right.
Her child is telling her what she should do with her money. And as much as she's proud of me, I am still that child.
Yeah.
And she just would never do it. Yeah. So.
Wow. And you had to just let it go and be.
I had no choice. If you knew my mother, if she said no, it was no.
So you'd be like, all right, Mom, I did what I could.
Right. I held up my end of the bargain.
Yes, you did. So you're at the technology job, all this going well. How do you decide at some point that I'm not going to do this anymore?
You know, there were a couple of pivotal moments for me.
Right.
The first was my mom got really, really sick.
Okay.
And by now I'd moved on to another bank. And she was just struggling. She went from 3 jobs down to 2, then it was 1. And I had said to her, Ma, you know, we got to figure out what's going on here. She went, she got checked. First, they didn't find anything, but she was losing a lot of weight. And so she put in her papers, she retired, and we had a conversation. And the conversation was, she was going to retire so she could enjoy her retirement.
Right.
And I think she knew what was going on. I think she maybe did not want to tell me.
Okay. Because you're an only child.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah.
And my job was to pick up the slack around the household expenses. That's what we agreed to.
Okay.
And so she retired and she steadily went downhill to the point that I called up my job one day and I said to them, listen, I'm going to go on leave because I need to be there for my mom. So at this point, she was on oxygen.
Wow.
We have a home that's got multiple stories. And so the bedroom's upstairs.
Yeah.
So what I was doing every day is I would get up at 5, I would wash her up, dress her, bring her down, set her up in like the living room, and there'd be food, drink, you know, because she really, she was weak.
Yeah.
And then I'd go to work.
Wow.
And then I'd be on the phone like hey, are you okay? What you doing? All right. Did you eat? And it was starting to impact my job as well. And finally I said to them, listen, I got to take time. I need to be here for her. And before I actually left, her sister came and moved in and started taking care of her so that I didn't have to like not work because I had to also help cover the expenses in the household, you know. But 18 months after that, she passed away.
Wow.
And so you asked me about, did she implement, what did I share with her around her finances? I was really saddened to see that all the money that she was putting in the CDs, it really didn't grow too much.
Wow.
So she had under $100,000 set aside in those type of accounts.
Right.
She had no 401k. She had a pension, but there was no death benefit.
Oh, wow.
So that went back to the company.
Right.
Social Security goes back to the government.
Right.
So my mother had less than $100,000, and she worked at 2 of these firms for almost 40 years.
Wow.
And I was like, wait a minute.
Wow.
My mother asked me to figure out how money works so she could do things better.
Right.
And I failed. At least that's the way I viewed it, right? Because she worked hard. She didn't get a chance to enjoy her money.
Right.
And she really didn't have a lot left at the end anyway.
Right.
So was it all worth it? You know? And that was an aha moment for me. I mean, I went back to work. I didn't quit my job or anything like that, but
what changed in that moment for you?
My attitude around the financial industry and what we're really doing. Like I started to notice that the companies that I worked with, the people that I was surrounded with, they were only working with people that made a certain amount of money.
Yeah.
They wouldn't even entertain a conversation with someone like my mother. They would tell them, go to the bank. And the banks would just say, put your money in the saving.
Yeah.
So what I started to really recognize is that this was always going on, right? But it just became apparent to me. And I couldn't stomach it, you know? And I wanted to do something different. I wanted to have the opportunity to educate people, to talk to everyday people and just show them, hey, did you know? Like I wanted to do for people what I don't think I did a great job of for my mom. And that was not possible where I was. Just wasn't possible.
Yeah,
like,
I was gonna say, how would you balance those two?
Yeah, you wouldn't.
You couldn't.
You would. There's the door.
Right.
You're more than welcome to go.
So did you develop an exit strategy?
No.
Or did you just say, I'm out?
So my strategy, they gave me an exit strategy.
Okay.
So what happened was during the course of all this, I ended up getting married. I had twins, a boy and a girl. And commentary, you know, something funny. So my first financial firm was E.F. Hutton.
Okay.
I met a guy named Hutton at Union Bank of Switzerland, and we married.
Okay.
And then I had a son, and I named him Hutton.
No.
And then on my way here, I had to turn on Hutton Street.
Oh, my. Because you were going to be talking about the Huttons in your life.
Exactly. So I sent a picture to my son. He was like, go figure, Mom.
Wow.
You know? But so I had my kids.
Right.
And, it was beautiful. Both my husband and I were working. He was also in finance.
Okay.
And, we make very good money.
Right.
And then things started to happen with my son developmentally.
Okay.
That led us to a diagnosis of autism.
Okay.
And to give him the services that he needed, I needed to go. Back then, there was something called flex time. Do you remember flex time?
Yes.
So back then I asked, can I do flex time? More hours, certain days of the week so that I could be home. I needed to learn sign language to communicate with my son.
Okay.
And they told me absolutely not. They said, if you want to do that, you have to go part-time. Now, other people were doing it, but I couldn't do it. So I went part-time because my child is the most important thing.
Yeah.
And at the same time that I was going through this, my marriage was starting to crumble as well.
Wow.
And I ended up going part-time. So we had 1.5 salaries.
Right.
And then we split. And I went to a half a salary for 2 kids.
Wow.
And that was my second pivotal moment where I realized that I'm working for a company, helping them make themselves rich and other people rich. And my family's being left behind. And I had dreams, I had goals, and I couldn't even find them anymore. I was like, where are they?
Wow.
So I realized that, I have to do something different.
Right.
And ultimately I left. And, I was trying to figure it out, like, how do I make this happen?
Right.
But I'm a woman of faith, and I really do believe that everything happens for a reason.
Amen.
And I was guided.
Right.
And I met a gentleman.
Okay.
And he was like, oh, I think you'd be great at this. And you should really come here. And it's like, I don't know what you're talking about. Get away from me. But I went and I saw what they were doing. And I saw it as a way where I could sit and work with everyday people. And that's how I made my transition. My son was the catalyst. No, there was no real strategy.
Right.
I can remember the early days where, the kids are eating and I'm like, all right, I think I have some peanut butter and I put that on bread, and, because I was betting on me.
Yeah, it's the working mom, entrepreneur mom lifestyle.
Exactly.
I get it. My kids can probably vouch with stories.
Yeah.
That's wild that you said that, because I do remember when I worked at the time that I had both my sons there, and for both of them, there was 1 week maternity leave.
What?
1 week.
Really stand.
Yes, 1 week. So for the first son, I had to just take time off and not be paid because I stayed home for about 4 months maybe.
Wow.
And for the second one, which was crazy, we were just finally getting 3 months. My son was due November 15th. And we were getting 3 months starting January of the following year.
Okay.
And so I went to the HR lady and I said, listen, I have vacation time. Can I just use that time to bridge me over so I can get the 3 months and be paid? And she said to me, well, if you can hold the baby in until January 1st, you can certainly have that. But otherwise,
oh my goodness.
Unfortunately, we can't help you.
Yeah.
And I gave birth November 15th. He was actually due November 28th, like he was 2 weeks early.
Right.
So it literally would have been like a month.
Right.
Before the 3 months kicked in as an official policy. And so, I ended up basically having to, again, get paid for 1 week. And the rest of the time was unpaid. I stayed home for 5 months with him and came back. So I can totally relate to the perspective of, but I needed to work, right?
Yeah.
Because at this point, my husband and I both started in corporate together, but he had gotten laid off from his job right after we had our first son because of politics, not because he wasn't capable. We were in financial services, both of us. Well, he was as well, but on the tech side. Actually, we both were on the tech side. And there was some politics. And one day he showed up to work and they were like, yeah, this is your last day. And we had just had our first son. Oh my God. So I needed to be working. We needed our benefits. and all of that, right? Our health insurance.
Yeah.
And so here I am, backpack on my back, hopping 3 trains to go first to Brooklyn where our tech center was, and then eventually to the Wall Street, and pumping breast milk in
the bathroom,
in the nurse's office, because there was not a birthing place.
Right.
So like they have now.
Right.
It was literally in the nurse's office where people were sick coming in to get taken care of from being sick. And I'm pumping.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, and putting it in the fridge there and praying that
nobody messes with
nothing cross-contaminates it. But yes, I totally get it. And it was crazy because when we did get to 3 months, I was like, wow, that's awesome. Yeah, thankfully, some woman is gonna benefit from that, or man for that matter, is gonna benefit from that at this point. So anyway, you decide, I'm doing the entrepreneur thing.
I'm doing the entrepreneur thing.
What does that look like? The kids are like, do they see mom less? Do they see you more, but they can't really access you because the laptop or the computer is there?
No, they see me more.
Right.
You know, I think they see me stressed because I really was very stressed.
Right.
I had a mortgage to pay.
Right. I
had 2 young kids who, you know, they were growing up. They had things they wanted to do. And you know, before I left my full-time job, we went on very, very nice vacations. Like I would rent a house in the Caribbean and we'd stay for a month. You know, that was my thing with them. And now
they were accustomed to that.
Right.
Yeah.
And now they're like, hey, can we go so-and-so? No, but we can go to the park.
Right. Yeah.
Like I'm looking for all these free things to do.
Yeah.
I don't think my kids understood.
Right.
I remember it was around Christmas and they had their list, what they wanted, right? And I was trying to explain to them that, you know, Christmas isn't about just getting things.
Right.
And if you don't get this, or you don't get that, you've got to be grateful. Like I was trying to grow them up.
Yep.
And my daughter, who is a mini me, I remember her saying, if you'd go get a real job.
Ooh.
And I was like, I was hurt.
Right.
I mean, you know, someone said to me, you let her talk to you like that? I didn't have time to, I was just so hurt.
I get it.
You know, and I tried to explain to her, I said, this is like when you have a business, you pay up front and in full.
Exactly.
Before you have your success.
Exactly.
And I was trying to share that with her, even though I didn't like that. That was the
it's
reality
delayed.
of it.
It's delayed.
Yeah. And she just was having none of it.
Wow.
And both of my kids were resentful. It came to a point where they were going to college.
Right.
I had 529 plans. And my son wanted to be a pilot.
Right.
So he got into Vaughn College in Queens.
Okay.
My daughter wanted to be a chef.
And they're twins, so you're getting double hit.
At the same time.
Oh.
My daughter got into Johnson & Wales in North Carolina.
Right.
And I was just so determined that they're gonna go to college. And I'm gonna make this happen.
Right.
And I got them in there.
Right.
And they made almost a year before I realized I couldn't maintain it.
Wow.
Like I had stopped paying my mortgage.
Wow.
So I could pay for them. And what they didn't understand is, so you know they have those meal tickets, like you pay this and it's good for the month.
The dining hall plan. Yeah.
Well, my son thought that meant it's, you know, unlimited buffet.
Right.
So by the 15th, he has no food. And I'm like, all right, pay the lights or put money on his card.
I'm aware of this, yes.
And the hardest thing I had to do is I had to pull them both out of college.
Wow.
Yeah, I'll never forget that. I cried for weeks behind that because I felt like I failed.
Wow.
Right? But if I didn't do that, what's going to happen to the house?
Right.
And I wasn't eating it was a mess.
Wow. And the dad is nowhere.
No, we had broken up already, and you know, he was sick.
Oh.
He ultimately ended up passing away.
Oh, wow.
And so, you know, if it was going to be, it was up to me.
Yeah.
You know, I had to make it happen.
So what do you do in that situation? That's, wow. Just
pray.
You pray.
That's
you
it.
Pray. You look for God's guidance and direction.
And it wasn't very nice when I was looking either. It wasn't like, oh,
Right.
help me. No, it was like, what is going on? Like, why do I have all of these challenges?
Yeah.
Why me?
Why me?
I'm doing everything right.
Yeah.
Make this happen.
Yeah.
But I realized I had to grow too.
Say more.
Yeah, looking back now,
Right.
like when I was in it,
Right.
I was angry, I was upset, I
Right.
was sad, I was all the emotions.
Right.
Now, looking back, all of those things were necessary because everything that I went through has become a testimony
Right.
for my clients.
Right. Right.
I have clients, single moms who, they come to me, they're like, Miss Kim, I heard your story. I need to figure this out.
Right.
I've got a little bit.
Right.
And I spend a lot of time encouraging them.
Right.
Like I'm naked and unashamed about the past that I've been through.
Right.
Because I realize that it can be a light for someone else.
Right. Right. Right.
So,
and you can truly appreciate what they're going through.
100%.
Right.
And when they know that you've been there,
Right.
it's like, they're like, wow, you got through this?
Yes.
Yes. I got some battle scars.
Right.
Let me show them to you,
Right.
But yes, I got through it.
And so you too can.
Yeah. And
I
that
love
goes back to the helping people. I just love it.
Yeah. So when the kids came home, what happened? Did they have to get jobs? Like what did you do?
Yeah, so they both got jobs.
Right.
Not anything that was going to pay anything in the house. Let's be real.
Right.
I mean,
right, but they had to
get jobs.
Yeah.
They had to grow up.
Right.
I think they missed out on the college life experience.
Right.
I think that's still a regret for me. I hear people talk about, college life and this, that, and the other, and we did.
Right.
They didn't get to do any of those things.
Right.
But they got jobs. They got job in food services. That's usually the first one you get, right?
Yep. My son was delivering pizza.
There you go. And they didn't make much money, but they got to eat free.
Right.
Which meant I got to spend less on groceries.
Right. And you're right. When they're away, they just lose their minds with the meal plans. My son did it. And I was like, he just got to a point, I was like, you're going to eat ramen noodles.
That's it.
Because I don't got nothing else for you.
Yeah, what are you doing?
Yeah, exactly.
And I realized they don't know. Like that's their first foray out into the real world.
Exactly.
And they're clueless.
Exactly.
Yeah. So. Yeah,
wow.
yeah.
Okay. So now the business is starting. You're putting a lot of time and effort into it. What do you see at first? Like, do the clients start to come immediately? How does it work?
Yeah, they don't come immediately.
Right.
There's no
because now you got to
success.
build this thing,
Yes.
these relationships.
Yes, and that's the key. It's the relationships.
Right.
So I see a lot of people in the industry, and they're friends of mine. And they're not focused on relationships. They're focused on numbers.
Right.
And what I realized is that when I focused on numbers, I felt icky. But when I focused on relationships, people came to me.
Yes.
Now, they may not have come to me in day one, were ready to do something.
Right.
But they came to me nonetheless. And then they told people about me.
Right. They referred.
Exactly.
Right.
And so I quickly realized that that's my superpower. I'm a relatable person. I love being around people. I love helping, listening.
Right.
And so when I incorporated that into my business, everything shifted. Now people are calling me.
Right.
I laugh because some people say, do you have a business phone and a personal phone? And I go, no, I just have one phone.
I love it.
And they're like, well, how do you screen your calls? I go, I don't.
don't.
Because I never know who's going to call me.
Right.
Last week, I had someone call me and they go, hi, Miss Kim, you don't know me. I was referred to you by such and such person who is the daughter of a client from 10 years ago.
Wow.
And I said, so we spoke and we're going to be doing some things together.
Right.
And then I reached out to the young lady that referred her to me to thank her. And I said, what made you think of me?
Right.
And she says, I'll never forget how you were there for my mom when she was going to lose the house. So she had, someone had put her she had a death in the family. They put her money into a very expensive vehicle, and then they used another vehicle to pay that expensive vehicle, but it wasn't structured properly.
Oh, wow.
And ultimately, she was losing all of her money. She was losing the settlement for the death of her loved one.
Right.
The coverage, all the money she had saved, all of it was gone. Over like $75,000.
Wow.
And, she came to me to see if I could help.
Right.
And the only thing I could see is that someone took advantage of her.
Wow.
And I told her exactly what to do. I told her, you go to the attorney general.
Right.
You go to the company. Here are the things I want you to highlight. Wow. And she won her case.
Wow.
And she got all of her money back. They made her whole.
Wow.
She didn't become a client. Like, she didn't really have the ability to do anything major. But I helped her. And look at it now. 10 years, 12 years
Still
later.
Paying for it.
Paying
forward. Yeah. Wow. So are your clients then mostly women? What's the breakdown of gender?
Yeah, I think a lot of my clients, I'd say probably about 70% are women.
Why do you think that is?
We speak a different language.
Say more.
When I talk to a woman, I can be very open and honest about what we go through, what it's like.
Right.
I've been there.
Got you.
When I speak to a man,
right,
he doesn't relate to those types of things.
Right.
Men tend to be very number focused. There's no emotion. Like, just what do I do? And,
right.
And so I can be more myself and more open when I'm with women.
Right.
And in fact, when I look at the couples that come together, so I have a lot of husband and wives.
Okay.
It's usually the wife that's initiated it and she's dragged her husband along, and I've seen my share of couples that were going to break up over money and been able to help them bridge the communication around it.
So let's just go there for a second. Two questions I have on that.
Yeah.
One is, as you're counseling those couples, do you see you and your previous husband in any of them?
100%.
And if so, like, what is it typically that gets people to that point? Because it is a huge contributor to people.
Yeah.
Divorce.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
I say all the time that infidelity doesn't help a marriage.
Right.
But financial challenges will destroy it faster. And, I think about women, and certainly when I was growing up, when I was married, there was a point in time where I was making more money than my husband. Right. He had lost his job, so I was the main breadwinner.
Right.
And it does something to the ego. And, you have to find a way to I don't want to say dance around it, but
massage it.
Yeah, massage it. Be with it.
Yeah.
And still allow the man to feel whole.
Masculine.
Right.
Yeah.
And so in one of my clients, that's exactly what was happening. And I shared my story with them.
Oh, wow.
And I said, where everything gets better is when you can communicate. And so I actually gave them questions. Now, this is not part of this is not my job, right?
I know.
This is not what a financial professional does. Okay, guys, just want you to know that. But this is what Kimberly does.
Right.
So what I did was I saw the issues.
Right.
And I put together like 3 or 4 questions.
Right.
And I said, I want you guys to go home and have conversation about this.
Right.
And when it gets hard, I want you to pull back.
Okay.
When you feel you.
Yeah.
I want you to pull back. But I do want you to come back to the table.
Right.
Because without those questions, I couldn't help them with their finance. They weren't on the same page.
Right.
And we ultimately got them on the same page.
Right.
They are now really good friends of mine.
Oh, wow.
I've been to their home. That was like 5 years ago I did that. Their marriage is much better.
Right.
They actually started going to counseling because they realized their biggest issue was they couldn't communicate. But, it wasn't just communication. No one's taught us about money. And so if it's never been taught in your home, never modeled, and you have one person who has a mindset of, listen, I work hard for my money, so I'm going to wear the best clothes and I'm going to do whatever.
Right.
And then you marry someone who maybe has struggled or is, they want to keep their money a little closer.
Right.
They want to hold on to it. That causes tension. And people go to marriage counselors before they get married.
Right.
They don't talk about money.
You're right.
What are we doing?
You're absolutely right. I don't remember us having that as a part of our marriage counseling, marital counseling.
Yeah.
I don't remember that. You're absolutely right.
Yeah.
Whose perspective is, what is your perspective on money and spending of it and saving of it?
Exactly.
And you're absolutely right. So you have these conversations. Obviously, people are starting to feel seen
I love that.
Right? In addition to being helped financially, they're seeing you're meeting them where they are.
Right.
And as a result of that, they trust you enough to tell you the whole story.
Yep.
So that you can truly be able to help them.
Yes.
And so how do you then start to differentiate? Like, does it cost you more to do that? Like from a delivery of service perspective? Or do you feel like overall it's still worth it because of the referrals and the continued business, repeat business, whatever the case may be?
So I'm going to say yes and yes to both questions.
Okay.
Does it cost me something? Yes.
Yeah.
Sometimes we don't close. But I look at it this way. We don't close because we weren't going to close, right? There were other things that were in the way.
Right.
But then they do come back or they refer people to me, right? So my process sometimes takes a little bit longer. I'm always sensitive to where someone is. Maybe they're just not ready yet.
Right.
And I'm not one, like I can have a strategy that'll get you to where you need to be.
Right.
But if you're not ready to hear it, because maybe you have to stop shopping on Amazon, like the Amazon guy comes to dinner every day.
I know.
Right?
I used to be that person. Real true confession. I used to be that person. I'm not anymore, but I used to be.
If they're not ready,
right,
I have to respect that.
Right.
So I'll pull back. But I always stay in touch. Like I do, I send out newsletters. I make it a point to connect with people on social media.
Okay.
Because I want to be top of mind so that when they are ready, I got to call Miss Kim.
You're on mind. Yeah. So would you recommend, right? This is a totally sidebar and then we'll come back. Would you recommend that a couple not share a bank account?
Oh my goodness. I love this question.
Like really?
So this goes back to understanding how they view and manage money. What is their relationship with money?
Right.
So when it comes to the household, I do think you should have a shared bank account.
Right.
And each is making their contribution and then you pay the household bills from there. Where that question really comes up, though, is when it comes to savings. I see this.
Right.
So I've had people ask me, do you think couples should have joint savings only or should they have this is mine and that is yours?
Right.
I'm of the mindset that you do want to have some of your own savings.
Right.
But it's disclosed, right? It's not hidden in a drawer.
Right.
But this is savings that I have.
Right.
And I think for me, where that comes from, being raised by a single mom, I'm fiercely independent.
Right.
Almost
same here.
On the wrong side of things, right?
gotta pull it back. Yeah.
And I've never wanted to be in a position where someone that I'm in a relationship with said, no, you can't buy those shoes, or no, you can't have another drink, or whatever it is.
Right.
And I don't think anybody wants to be in that position. So
gone are those days.
Yeah. So that's why I think having like your own individual savings is important. But yes, let each other know.
Right.
And if you're building a household and you're putting money away for the household expenses, and maybe if you're doing repairs or whatever, then your personal savings is not impacting the progress of the family.
Right. No, I agree with you because when Dom and I got married, I guess we lucked out in this because I've really talked to a lot of people since and learned some interesting stories about how people share money. But we were kind of agreeable. I think we had our family account and both our checks went into that. But we agreed up front that a percentage will go into our spending money accounts.
Yes.
And then we had our savings, right? We put money together in savings, but we had those spending money. And don't ask me what I'm doing with mine. If I come home with the extra pair of shoes, I don't got to hide it in the trunk.
Exactly.
I can walk in the house with it and not be like, you women know what I mean.
That's exactly right.
And, when we got bonuses, depending on whose bonus it was, you will get a bigger percentage of it, right? Like if I happened to work so we got huge bonuses, right? And so he kind of was slighted a little bit because his company didn't get as much money, but it was like, okay, I would get a bigger percent because it was my bonus, but he would get a percentage too.
Right.
And vice versa, right? But what I came to find out was after Dom passed away, he had a lot more money in his spending money than I did. a lot. Right. I would have never known about it if he hadn't passed away. Because it was in a different bank. I had TD. He had, I forget something else. And we banked at Chase, our regular stuff.
Okay.
And I went to go, you're doing all the work.
Yeah.
After the person passes away, and I go and close up their account. Girl, it was $24,000. I was like, did he spend his money on anything?
He wasn't spending it.
I had $2,000. He had $24,000. I was like, Dom, I love you even with you being gone.
Mm-hmm.
I just didn't think he was keeping all that cash.
Yeah.
But for him, bigger purchases were important, motorcycle.
Okay.
Sort of thing, right? So requires more chunks of money.
Yeah.
And so I don't know what he was saving for next, but it probably was something like another toy, big expensive toy.
Okay.
But I think it's really important because a lot of couples don't really discuss that, or they kind of end up without a plan and working through it. And there's a lot of contention, but I digress. Let's come back to you. So the kids come home, you're doing the entrepreneur thing. It's taking off, it's being accepted. How are you now translating communication to the kids about money? Where mom was and where mom is now?
That's interesting that you asked that, because initially I wasn't sharing with them how I was doing or, the amount of money I was making. And I realized I was doing a big disservice because as my business started to grow, I was away more.
Right.
I was in the office later.
Right.
I'd come home and then I'd be on my computer, or I'd be going to other states to see clients.
Right.
And I realized that if I really want to model how money works, I need to start at home.
Right.
And so I would tell them, I'd say, listen, I sat with a client, here's how much money I made on that client. And this is how much I'm putting aside for taxes. And, this is, or maybe I had a period where 2 weeks, 3 weeks go by, there's no income.
Right.
I didn't get any money this week.
Right.
I didn't get any money last week.
Right. So they understand the fluidity of it.
Exactly.
And why it's important to save and apportion it correctly when you do get it. Because it's not going to be even.
Yes.
I love that.
But I will say that I don't know that they're taking the lesson.
Oh.
I do think they have to take the class again.
Okay.
And probably with another teacher.
Right.
Because there's parent deaf.
Right, of
they
course.
don't hear me.
Yeah.
It's wah, 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 wah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, I look to model that for them.
Right.
I'm also modeling, look, if you have a dream, if you have a goal, go after it. You don't have to go and work for a particular company.
Right.
Like, who says?
Yeah.
You want to build something amazing like this?
Right.
Go build it.
Yeah. Do what you're passionate about and do it extremely well.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I love that. So you're there. Business is booming now.
Yes.
Who are your clients? Well. What do they look like? What is their profile? Like, what are you working with them on?
Yeah, so I think the one thing I find myself doing a lot with clients on is preparing for retirement. It's I just did a post the other day about how there's something called Peak 65. Last year was when the first time we had as many people turning 65 ever in U.S. history, right? And the post that I just did talked about more than half of the people that turn 65 don't have enough for retirement. In fact, the average retirement account's about $150,000.
That's it.
So I find, yeah.
Wait, say that again.
$150,000 is the average retirement account.
Wow.
And these individuals feel like they've done something amazing. I sat with a gentleman, much younger, he's in his 30s, and he said to me, we were doing his finances, and he said, oh, but I'm good. I'm good for retirement. And, I paid off my house, and so good. I mean, I'm glad you paid off your house.
Asset,
and when we started looking at what he has $30,000 in a traditional IRA. He's got $30,000 in a Roth IRA and $20,000 in a brokerage account. And he believes he's good.
Wow.
And so I find myself doing a lot of education around what does it really cost to live?
Right. What's actually needed. Yeah.
Right. And what it costs. You might be good today, but you factor in inflation and you let some time go on. And then you have kids and
Right.
you're
Grandkids.
broke.
Right.
Yeah, now you're broke with
Yeah.
that money.
Right.
You know, so I find myself doing a lot of that. I tend to work with individuals who are 30 and older. I will work with folks that are younger.
Right.
But a lot of them are like my kids.
Yeah.
Right? They see me as mom.
They're not ready yet.
They're not ready.
Yeah.
They're not ready.
They're not ready or motivated enough yet.
And that's the key. They're
Right.
not motivated.
Right.
And I tell them, you know, if you start now, when you're in your 40s, you are going to be like, that Miss Kim, oh my goodness.
Yeah.
But they want to live their best life now. You know, they eat their money, they drive their money, they wear their money.
Right.
But most of my clients, 30 to 60, they're, you know, individuals that have responsibility,
Right.
whether it's for themselves or
Right.
for others. They're working and they're just really trying to figure out, how do I take whatever I'm making
Right.
and get it to work for me? That's where I spend a lot of
So
time.
you're advising your mom in a lot of ways over and over again,
Yes.
if I would say so, right?
Yeah, 100%.
At an earlier point
Yeah.
when it could matter.
Yeah.
I love that. I love that. So now we're at this point. What does Kim do to take it even higher? Like what's next? Like what does that look like?
Yeah, it's a great question. And, you know, it's something I've been looking at. Someone asked me, you know, Kim, I just turned 60.
Right.
And she's like, you know, when are you going to retire? And I'm like, I don't know anywhere in the Bible where it said, and then he retired. I'm sorry. I've never seen it.
I love it.
And I'm of the mindset that I love what I do.
Right.
What you just said is so important because I do what I do as if I'm doing it for my mom.
Yeah.
Right? That's my way to make amends or to fix whatever. And I will do that for as long as my mind is working and I'm physically capable.
Right.
So knowing that there's no magic number,
Right.
then to your point, how do I take it to the next level?
Yeah.
And what I would like to do is have a business that is thriving so much that I can now train and develop other people in my community, in any community, but I am very partial to my community,
Right.
on how money works and how they can go out and they can advise people.
Right.
I really want to change the conversation around money in the African American community.
I love it.
And so how do I do that? I'm not quite sure yet. It hasn't been revealed.
I got some ideas.
Okay, well, we'll talk.
We'll talk. I've got some ideas.
But I think that everything can be addressed in conversation.
Right.
And you know, at the table, we're talking about the wrong things. You know, I've gone out with friends and we're breaking bread, and I'm looking at the conversation and I'm saying to myself, "You are so distracted.
Yeah.
You don't realize what is happening around you." So something along those lines. I
love
haven't
that.
really figured it out.
I think that's great. And I think it scales you. It allows you to scale to more people.
Yeah.
It's so interesting because my younger son is fascinated by managing money and growing money specifically. So he calls me, and, you know, he saves his money. He got a nice little savings. I can see everybody's stuff. He saves his money, right? And so he says, "Mom, you know, I need to get my money out of this high yield savings and into something else. I need to grow it more." I'm like, "Yeah, I agree." So I've kind of been honestly procrastinating about it, but I do have to make it a priority because we do need to find that. And we actually talked about that the other day. So we finally went and got him a credit card because I've tried to work really hard for them to understand truly the use of credit cards.
Right.
Thanks to God, one child is graduating college in 2 weeks.
Yay.
And he has, I think, $600 in credit card debt.
Okay, good.
Because we've been like, I kind of really made sure I taught him all the way through how to manage it, the real need for it, when you really should be using it, what the cost of the money is.
Yeah.
So the younger one, I took him to get his first credit card at 18, you know, from our bank. And the banker calls him about a couple of days ago and says, "Hey, you still haven't used your credit card."
Yeah, and?
Right. You have to use it or they're going to close it. You have to at least spend $500 so they can give you $250 cash back. And I was like, okay, first of all, they just need you to get into the habit of using your credit card so you can spend more.
Right.
But yes, if we can get $250 back, we need to figure out the right thing to spend it on.
Yeah.
And so he and I are working through that. And he's actually letting me work through it with him, right?
That's beautiful.
And I'm like, thank you, Jesus, right? Because I know when I came out of college and I met Dom and we decided we were going to start merging finances, he cut up all my cards because like I had the credit card debt. Yeah, it was me, and we had to work on my credit and we had to work on cleaning it up and paying on time and all of that. Thankful for him because he was as I told you, he had all his money.
The money,
yeah. He was always really good with that. And I learned a lot from him about that. But thankfully, we are now in a place with my sons. But there are a lot of kids who may not have that.
Yeah, they don't have the model.
That model or that direction or that person they trust.
Yeah.
That they can go to and have those conversations with.
Yep.
And so one of the things that I'm really passionate about is how we start to talk about those things with our young ones, right? Those who are in that 18 to 25, 30 bracket. Because I feel like that's what they need is they may not be ready to really fully invest, but I feel like they need the educational component in piecemeal form because they can't absorb a lot at once. It needs to be piecemeal and it needs to be relevant in the moment, right? So we met. Full disclosure, Kim was on the panel. I saw her and I was like, ooh, I'm going to have her on the podcast because it was just amazing. Very inspiring to me. And now you are at this point in your life where you're trying to figure out how to scale. What does Kim do or what did Kim do back then? First of all, what does the now Kim tell Kim maybe 25 years ago? Like, how have you evolved? Who is she now relative to then?
That's a deep question.
Yeah.
When I think about who I was 25 years ago, I was fearless. And as I've aged and responsibilities and I found that I was shrinking, becoming more cautious with things.
Reserved, yes.
And so I think what I would tell myself 25 years ago is, girl, just continue to be you. Embrace who you are. Don't let anybody tell you you're less than. I spent a lot of time trying to conform. I think I was like, they have those chameleons you put and they change colors. That was me 25 years ago.
Yeah.
And it's probably why I'm great with relationships, but I was losing myself.
Right.
So now what I'm doing now is I'm going back to being fearless. I bet on me.
I love it.
And yes, I'm going to make mistakes and I'm going to own them and pick myself back up. And let's make another mistake.
I love it.
Because that's where the learning begins.
Yes. What song would you listen to back then that will calm you when you were in the middle of that moment where you didn't know if you were going to be able to make the mortgage?
Oh, my goodness.
What song grounded you, just floated you away for a quick second?
So I'm a big jazz head.
Okay.
I love jazz music. And Grover Washington had an album called Wine Light.
Okay.
And the entire album is very soothing for me. And
I'm going to have to check it out.
Yeah, I could listen to that and you just kind of relax. You just, whatever is happening around you, just things fade to black. So that's the album I would go to, most definitely.
Okay, good. Now, if you had to look back on life and all of the cost, this is the cost of impact. There are a lot of receipts associated with Kim being where she is today, right? If you had to pay it all over, and do all the things, and maybe, our relationship lost, kids not seeing as much as they would have or would have liked to, would you pay it, do everything as you did and pay all of the costs you did to be where you are today?
I'm going to say yes.
Okay.
And I say that because I believe everything happens for a reason. Mm-hmm. Relationships that didn't last, well, then they weren't meant to last, right? Mm-hmm. My kids not seeing me all the time, it's okay, because there's going to be a point in time where they never see me again.
True.
So they're learning what it's like to not always have me there.
Right.
But yeah, there are a lot of receipts, mm-hmm. and there are bruises, mm-hmm. there's heartbreak. But I think all of that has helped me become who I am today. Right. And I wouldn't trade that. I believe that who I am still becoming is for something greater than myself that I haven't yet walked into. And so in order for me to walk into what that is, I had to go and still have to go. Right. Still going. Whatever's coming my way.
Is ahead.
But I think I've gotten stronger with each challenge, each disappointment. It's built my resolve. It has strengthened my faith. And it's just been a reminder that this is just for a short period of time.
Right. I was just thinking that. Fullest. I was just thinking that today when I was at my hairdresser. I'm like, none of this gonna matter at some point soon. At some point, it's not gonna matter. Like, it really isn't. Yeah. To close it off, let's talk a bit about faith. I actually have this series called the Lydia series. And yeah, it's about women who have done well in the business world, but are anchored in their faith, right? And the intersection of both. Tell me a little bit about when you saw how important your faith was to your professional walk.
So when I left the corporate world, I had a mortgage, had 2 kids in college, no food in the refrigerator. And I just thought about my mom. My biggest fear was that I was going to lose what my mother worked 3 jobs to make sure we didn't lose, which was the house. So that house, the family has lived in that house since the 50s. Oh, wow. The late 50s. And I was like, it can't be on my watch. And I remember standing in my bedroom one day, looking out the window. So my bedroom today is what my mother's bedroom was when I was a little girl. Okay. And I remember standing there and I was crying because I didn't know how I was going to pay the mortgage. I think at that point I was many months behind me. Or who knows? Wow. I was getting the letters and you don't even open the mail anymore because it's nothing good. Yeah. Wow. And I remember hearing in my spirit, if I got you here, what makes you think that I'm not going to take you to the next step? Stop trying to do everything on your own. Ooh. I am fiercely independent. Right. And it shows up in my walk. And I believe, this is why I would not go change anything. Right. A lot of the challenges that I experienced was to challenge my independence, because it's one thing to say I'm independent, I don't need anyone here, but that translates to your relationship with God. Right. And I didn't realize that that's where I was, but and I heard it clear as day. I got you here. Whenever you let go, whenever you're ready, I'll take over. And took some time. It didn't happen right away.
I know that's right. Clear. I know.
But little things I'd let go of. I'd say, all right, I'm not going to worry about that. Right. And I would see the evidence of it. Yeah. Oh, that worked out. Yeah. Okay, let me not worry about that. Let me not worry about this. And not too far back, I'd say like in the last 3 years, I've started cleaning up some of the messes that I made trying to do everything on my own. Because there's messes in all of that too.
I love it.
And now I can look at it and say, yeah, you know what, girl? You messed that up. That is a hot mess. I know. And now you get to clean it.
I know. It's called total surrender.
Yes. Yes.
It is a process.
100%.
For a person who's AA or AAA type.
Yeah. Yep.
For sure.
Yeah.
I love it. Well, thanks for sharing. This is a wonderful conversation. Thanks for listening to The Cost of Impact. If this conversation resonated with you, share it with someone who's building something meaningful in their own way. Until next time, keep building what matters. Welcome.
Hi.
How are you?
I'm good.
I'm glad you made it in all this crazy weather.
Yes, this
It's
has
been
beautiful.
insane weather. Thank you. Welcome to Control Room. Let's see how we look.
I know I look back.
I know we do. I'm sure we do.
Hi, I'm Kimberly Gilgeours, and I am an agent of impact.